Hello everyone. I am Mr. Dishwasher. In the previous episode, we explored Luffy's audacious escape from Impel Down. Currently, everyone is aboard the warships, preparing to set sail to Marineford for the brave mission of rescuing Ace. At this very moment, Ace's imminent execution is upon us. The world is well aware that this won't be an ordinary execution, and Whitebeard is certain to rise to the occasion to save his beloved son. The Marines have assembled an awe-inspiring force of 100,000 troops, 50 warships, 5 warlords, 3 admirals, Fleet Admiral Sengoku, and Vice Admiral Garp, showcasing the might of the world government. They are ready to crush any invading adversary, even if it happens to be the most formidable force in the world. Amid a tense atmosphere, Ace is escorted to the execution platform. Sengoku reveals Ace's lineage as the son of the Pirate King to the entire world. Now all that remains is for the execution to commence, and the world's most nefarious bloodline shall be vanquished forever. Suddenly 43 pirate ships appear on the horizon. In a grand display, Whitebeard emerges from the depths of the sea, leading his majestic fleet of 47 battleships. The Great War is about to begin. At this moment, Ace hopes that Whitebeard and his comrades won't put their lives at risk for his sake. Nonetheless, Whitebeard calmly says, Upon hearing his father's words, tears flow down Ace's face. Memories of his past with Whitebeard flood his mind. In the past, a young and inexperienced Ace gained great fame. He turned down an invitation to join the 7 warlords and instead chose to challenge Whitebeard in a one-on-one confrontation. During this endeavor, he engaged in a 5-day and 5-night battle with Jinbe, which ended in a standstill. Whitebeard personally intervened and defeated Ace with a single punch. However, rather than executing Ace, Whitebeard offered him a heartfelt invitation. From that moment, Ace set sail with Whitebeard's crew and repeatedly tried to assassinate him, but each attempt proved futile. Whitebeard never held him accountable and kept him close by. Eventually, Ace was moved by Whitebeard's generosity and joined his crew as the 2nd Division commander. However, later on, Blackbeard murdered one of their comrades and stole the dark fruit. To restore Whitebeard's reputation, Ace pursued Blackbeard despite the advice against it, leading to the current situation. Now Whitebeard admits that he was the one who encouraged Ace to chase after Blackbeard. He then activates his Tremor fruit power, summoning a tremendously powerful tsunami that threatens to engulf Marineford. Witnessing this, Akiji can no longer remain passive and freezes the tsunami directly. Ice Age! Under Akiji's icy domain, the entire sea is immobilized, and the ships can no longer advance. The naval conflict transforms into a land-based battle as the pirates disembark and enter the fray. At the same time, Mihawk launches an attack on Whitebeard with his sword, assessing the difference in strength between himself and the world's mightiest. However, Jozu, the 3rd Division commander and user of the Twinkle Twinkle fruit, effortlessly blocks the assault. Following this display, the offensive and defensive battle officially commences, with both sides engaging in close combat. Amidst the clash, Kizaru approaches Whitebeard with astonishing speed, preparing to strike. However, Marco, the 1st Division commander and user of the Bird fruit, model, Phoenix, intercepts the attack, propelling Kizaru away and showcasing his commanding power. In this moment, Akainu can no longer contain himself and activates his Magma fruit power, unleashing a fiery onslaught upon Whitebeard's entire crew. Witnessing this, Whitebeard finally takes action. With a gentle breath, he extinguishes the candles on the birthday cake. Following this symbolic act, the confrontation escalates, and the pirates gain the upper hand against the Marines. Nonetheless, the warlords are formidable opponents. Doflamingo and Moria make their moves, and Little Oars sustains instant, severe injuries. Despite his fervent desire to save Ace, Little Oars eventually collapses helplessly to the ground. Fortunately, thanks to Little Oars' earlier destruction of the city walls, the pirates secure a passage to the central plaza. Whitebeard then issues the command to attack, and everyone charges forward with courage, determined not to let Little Oars' resolve go in vain. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sengoku orders Tsuru to commence the execution ahead of schedule. At the same time, Garp stands beside Ace, reminiscing about their shared past and feeling as if it were only yesterday. Garp had hoped to train Ace to become a Marine, but Ace chose the path of a pirate. In this moment, Garp says to Ace,
悪党に同情はねえが、家族は違う。エース貴様、なぜわしの言う通りに生きなんだ。
At this critical juncture, the assembly led by Luffy finally reaches the battleground. They descend gracefully from the sky, assisted by a preceding tsunami. Prior to their appearance, their voices echo across the scene, and Luffy immediately cries out. The situation on the battlefield is constantly shifting. With Luffy's intervention, the scales of victory appear to tilt slightly in favor of the pirates. Suddenly, Crocodile charges towards Whitebeard, seeking to settle old grudges. Yet Luffy swiftly intercepts Crocodile's assault with a soaring kick. In that moment, Luffy resolves to protect Whitebeard from Crocodile's attacks. To everyone's surprise, Whitebeard questions Luffy's strength and cautions him about the perilous nature of the battlefield. Unperturbed by these words, Luffy regards Whitebeard as a future rival and confidently declares, In the end, both Luffy and Whitebeard share the common goal of rescuing Ace. They engage in an equal conversation. Afterward, Luffy dashes towards the execution platform, encouraged by his actions, motivating the pirates with heightened morale. Admirals Kizaru, Kuma, and Moria, alongside other formidable fighters, attempt to halt Luffy's progress. However, with the aid of Ivankov, Jinbe, and others, all their efforts prove futile. Observing Luffy's daring sacrifice, Ace couldn't help but say, "I have my own journey, and you have no right to interfere." Nevertheless, Luffy responds firmly to Ace's words. On the other front, Whitebeard is inspired by Luffy's courage. He commands his entire crew to support Luffy and directs Marco to protect him. He even extends his greetings to Buggy and invites him to unite against the Marines. This speech immediately turns all the prisoners into Buggy's admirers. Meanwhile, Luffy continues to press forward, confronting Smoker. During their encounter, Luffy finds himself ensnared in Smoker's attack, but Empress Hancock timely intervenes to save him. Not only does she provide Luffy with a key hidden in her bosom, but she also intercepts Smoker's offensive. Furthermore, Ivankov learns about Kuma's transformation into PX-0, losing all sense of self. As a result, Ivankov has to battle Kuma and allow Luffy to keep advancing. On another front, Doflamingo tries to manipulate Jozu and proposes an alliance with Crocodile, but the latter scornfully rejects the offer. Within the battlefield, Hawkeye Mihawk stands in Luffy's way, attempting to stop him. With a few strikes, Luffy is immediately injured, and Jinbe is knocked into the sea. If it weren't for Luffy's first awakening of Kenbunchaku Haki, he would have been severely wounded by Mihawk's icebreaking strike, risking the loss of both his arms. Fortunately, Vista, the 5th Division commander, promptly engages in a fierce battle with Mihawk, enabling Luffy to continue his approach towards Ace. Meanwhile, the pacifists, acting as pacifists, flank the pirates from behind, intending to eliminate them. Additionally, Sengoku plans to halt the live stream and prematurely execute Ace while activating the encircling walls. However, one broadcast room cannot be shut down. Buggy, fortuitously, has acquired a Den Den Mushi for live broadcasting, making him famous and a big star. On Whitebeard's ship, Squard, who has long been missing, appears beside Whitebeard. To everyone's surprise, he drives a sword into Whitebeard's chest. It is revealed that Squard's pirate crew had been annihilated by Roger in the past, fueling his hatred towards Roger. Akainu deceives Squard by claiming that Whitebeard intends to trade Ace's life for the lives of all pirates. Nonetheless, Whitebeard does not hold Squard responsible, rather, he embraces him tenderly.
バカな息子をそれでも愛そう。みんな俺の家族だぜ。
In that very moment, Squard realizes the grave mistake he has committed. Subsequently, Whitebeard, gravely injured, personally joins the fray. The heavens tremble, and the earth shakes as a single strike defeats the marine giant Vice Admiral. The horrifying shockwave necessitates the combined efforts of 3 admirals to counteract. At this point, the Marines initiate the encircling walls and countless cannons, preparing to annihilate the pirates. Yet the area where Oz is located cannot activate the encircling walls, providing the pirates with a glimmer of hope. Observing this, Akainu intervenes with fury, unleashing his meteor volcano attack. He bombards the pirate crew with magma, enveloping everything in smoke. Even Whitebeard's ships and flags are engulfed in a sea of fire. Suddenly, Sengoku publicly orders Ace's execution, but Jinbe intervenes, rescuing Luffy from the encircling walls. At this moment, Luffy found himself facing the three admirals. He attempted to create a smokescreen for evasive maneuvers, but Kizaru effortlessly repelled him. With Ace's imminent execution catching everyone off guard, Crocodile stepped in to rescue him, expressing disdain for the Navy's arrogance. Subsequently, Luffy and the others launched another rescue operation. Little Oars regained consciousness and broke through the encirclement using a covert pirate ship. Despite Little Oars falling again under heavy fire, Whitebeard had already reached the forefront. Following Whitebeard's orders, the fierce battle between him and Akiji resumed. Jozu took the opportunity to launch Akiji away, while Whitebeard continued to advance. On the other side, Marco headed alone towards the execution platform to rescue Ace, but he was struck down by Garp's punch. Witnessing everyone's desperate attempts to save him, Ace shed tears. He had always believed that his birth was a mistake, but seeing his comrades sacrifice themselves to save him made him realize the value of life. Meanwhile, Luffy was under attack from the Vice Admirals and struggled to stand. Kizaru even kicked him back to Whitebeard's side. However, with the aid of Ivankov's hormones, Luffy mustered his strength and returned to his peak state. He was determined to save Ace, even if it meant sacrificing his own life. Amidst the clash, Akainu blocked Whitebeard's devastating strike with a leg, their auras tearing through the air, leaving everyone astonished. But the wounded Whitebeard suddenly fell to a previous illness. Seizing this chance, Akainu used Magma Fist to pierce through Whitebeard's chest. At the same time, Marco and Jozu, concerned for Whitebeard's safety, were heavily wounded by Kizaru and Akiji. Countless Navy soldiers rushed towards Whitebeard, seemingly throwing their lives away to inflict more wounds on him. However, Whitebeard did not fall. He bellowed his name and repelled the approaching Navy with a single strike. Just then, Sengoku brought in a new executioner and issued the second order to execute Ace. It seemed that no one could stop it this time, and the executioner's blade was about to fall. At the critical moment, Luffy reawakened his Haoshiku Haki, intimidating the executioner and shocking everyone. Seeing this, Whitebeard immediately ordered everyone to protect Luffy and resist the Navy. Not only that, Crocodile and Mr. One also intervened, blocking Hawkeye. Finally, with everyone's protection, a path to Ace opened up. However, the Navy hero Garp stood in the way. Grandfather and grandson faced each other on the battlefield, where one of them would either die or be killed. In the end, Garp couldn't bear to continue, and Luffy punched him away. In this manner, Luffy reached the execution platform, but Kizaru used a long-range attack to shatter the unlocked key. At the critical moment, Mr. 3 disguised himself as a Navy member and appeared nearby. He used his Candle Fruit ability to create a new key. Seeing this, Sengoku transformed into Buddha and decisively attacked. Luffy, on the other hand, entered third gear and endured Sengoku's attack with his body. The terrifying power destroyed the execution platform, and the bomb exploded at that very moment. Finally, Luffy successfully rescued Ace, and the two brothers stood side by side again, displaying their astonishing power. Even Akiji's ice was melted by Ace's flames. At this moment, Squard, steering a pirate ship, intended to go down together with the Navy. However, Whitebeard single-handedly stopped the charging vessel. He then ordered a full retreat. To ensure everyone's safety, he would stay behind to hold off the enemies. Although everyone was reluctant, they chose to retreat following their captain's order. Meanwhile, Ace used his flames to create a barrier and knelt down before Whitebeard.
言葉はいらねえぞ。一つ聞かせろエース。俺が親父でよかったか。もちろんだ。
Afterwards, all the pirates commenced their retreat in the opposite direction. However, at that moment, Akainu stood nearby, deriding Whitebeard as a relic of a bygone era. Upon hearing this, Ace halted his steps. In order to prove his father's honor, he chose to forego escape and engage in a battle against Akainu.
この時代の名、白ひげだ。白ひげも、それを親父と慕うお前らも、結局同じ敗北者じゃけ。
However, this played right into Akainu's hands, as the magma fruit was the natural nemesis of the flame fruit. Eventually, Ace fell in defeat against Akainu. Subsequently, Akainu aimed an attack at Luffy, who was already depleted of strength and appeared beyond salvation. As Luffy stood on the precipice of being consumed by magma, Ace intervened, taking the blow that pierced his chest, his life gradually waning. Unyielding, Akainu did not cease his assault. The magma fist struck once more. This time, Jinbei risked his life to shield Luffy from the attack. His palm was seared with scorching magma. Meanwhile, Ace expressed his apologies to Luffy, contemplating whether his existence was a mistake and reminiscing about Dayton, the woman who raised him, and the deceased brother, Sabo. Ultimately, Ace conveyed his deepest regrets.
一つある。お前の夢の果てを見られねえことだ。だけど、お前なら必ずやれる。俺の弟だ。
In that moment, time seemed to stand still. Luffy and Ace appeared transported back to their childhood. They made a vow to set sail together and become the freest souls on the sea.
親父、みんな、そして、ありがとう。
Finally, Ace closed his eyes forever. Grief-stricken, everyone fell into sorrow, and Luffy lost all will to fight. At that moment, the sorrowful Whitebeard broke through the Navy's encirclement. He appeared behind Akainu and delivered a thunderous punch that sent him crashing down. Faced with Whitebeard's terrifying onslaught, Akainu was reduced to a shapeless figure. However, his counterattack further exacerbated Whitebeard's injuries. Subsequently, Whitebeard fractured the earth beneath him, leaving a chasm thousands of meters deep. He stood alone, confronting the Navy. This was the final farewell, and Whitebeard's last guardianship of his children. Just then, the Blackbeard pirates arrived brazenly. They had recruited new members from level 6 of Impel Down and now pointed their butcher's knife at Whitebeard. Then Blackbeard and Whitebeard engaged in a fierce battle. Blackbeard harnessed the power of darkness to completely absorb Whitebeard's seismic force. However, even with just a breath left and his abilities disabled, Whitebeard defeated Teach with a single slash, making the latter beg for mercy. However, Whitebeard ultimately couldn't deliver the finishing blow. Taking advantage of the opening, Blackbeard ordered his entire crew to attack. Under the relentless assault of the Blackbeard pirates, Whitebeard was left barely clinging to life. He recalled the image of drinking and gazing at the moon with Roger, remembered declining the invitation to Raftel, and the D's were spoken by Roger. Returning to the present, Whitebeard uttered,
One Piece は実在する。許せ、息子たち。とんでもねえバカを残しちまった。随分と長く旅をした。いい航海だった。感謝している。さらばだ、息子たち。
After the resounding cry that shook the world, Whitebeard stood tall and perished in the midst of battle. Throughout this conflict, he endured 267 cuts, 152 gunshot wounds, and was struck by 46 cannonballs. Surprisingly, his back remained unblemished, showing no signs of retreat. Thus, the emblem of an era departed, known as Whitebeard. At that very moment, Blackbeard abruptly covered Whitebeard with a black cloth. When he re-emerged, he wielded the power of the Tremor fruit. A deafening roar swept through, reducing Marineford to ruins. However, amidst Blackbeard's rampage at Marine headquarters, Sengoku transformed into Buddha form, delivering a powerful blow to the entire Blackbeard crew, reigniting the battle. On the other front, Akiji froze the sea while Akainu relentlessly pursued Luffy. During the course of the conflict, Akainu pierced through Jinbe's chest and dealt another devastating blow to Luffy. In this dire situation, Crocodile intervened, blocking Akainu's attack. Buggy then seized the opportunity to transport Luffy and Squard to Law's submarine, where they found refuge. Everyone promptly submerged to evade Kizaru's laser attacks. In a corner of the battlefield, Kobe wept for the cruelty of war. He confronted Akainu, hoping to halt the senseless fighting. Nevertheless, Akainu remained steadfast in his belief in absolute justice and mercilessly struck Kobe. At this critical juncture, a man wielding a sword emerged, intercepting Akainu's mighty blow. That man was none other than red-haired Shanks. Simultaneously, Kizaru finally faced the threat of Beckman's gun, compelling him to cease his assaults. In that moment, red-haired Shanks declared an end to the war and requested respect from everyone. For those still seeking conflict, the red-haired pirates were prepared to oblige. To prevent further casualties, everyone acquiesced to Shanks' plea. Eventually, Blackbeard departed, and Sengoku announced the war's conclusion. Thus, the Summit War came to an end with neither side claiming victory. This event signified the passing of an era's symbol and heralded the dawn of a turbulent age. The islands once protected by Whitebeard suffered widespread destruction, thrusting the world into turmoil and heading towards an even more perilous future. Deep beneath the sea, Law's submarine evaded pursuit, and Boa Hancock arrived at the scene. Luffy's life was saved through Law's treatment, and he was taken to Daughter Island. However, upon awakening, Luffy couldn't accept Ace's death and became frantic. Fortunately, Jinbe managed to snap Luffy out of it, reminding him of his comrades on the sea. Yes, there were still many people caring for him, waiting for him. As a captain, he couldn't let down the hearts of his crew. Finally, Luffy reclaimed his resolve. He decided to courageously bear the burden and carry on Ace's will, setting sail once more. In that moment, it was as if time had turned back to the past when 3 young children made a vow to sail the seas. Human dreams know no end. The Summit War has reached its conclusion. This chapter of One Piece stands as the most grand and intense battle, involving an unprecedented number of characters. An entire 50 episodes of the anime were dedicated to depicting this war, a truly astonishing spectacle. Additionally, this war has elicited countless tears. The successive departures of Ace and Whitebeard remain moments that many find difficult to look back upon. Of course, Luffy's journey is far from over. In the future, his past with Ace will come to light, and the Straw Hat crew will face the challenges of the new world. So, what awaits us next? We shall find out in the upcoming installment. Thank you all. Goodbye.